this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome back to Ranked. Now, this is where Joe and I pick a franchise that we've either already watched for Franchise Frenzy, or a franchise that didn't quite make it in Franchise Frenzy. Sometimes they will not even be horror, and we do a ranking. Now, this time we're going to be talking about the Sharknado franchise. Here are a lot of people going, "Oh man." Well, let me tell you something. This franchise is a ton of fun, in my opinion. And I know Joe loved it too. So we're going to be going through all 6 movies and starting from my least favorite to my favorite. Just remember, guys, this is my personal opinion and how I see the films. All right. Coming in at number 6 is the original Sharknado. Now, I love all these films. I think they're all great. This one is great as well, but I think it was before they finally realized what they wanted it to be. I don't think they were quite sure yet which direction they wanted to go in. Whether it was going to be an action horror film or complete absurdity. And I think they just ramped up both more. So they just kind of went, pedal to the metal throughout the whole franchise. But this one is a ton of fun. This one is in Los Angeles, and he's trying to protect his family, who he's kind of estranged from. And that's my number 6, the original Sharknado. Now, coming in at number 5 is Sharknado 2, the second one. Okay, Sharknado 2, the second one. This is where they went to New York. Again, they were just kind of getting into what I think this series ultimately wanted to be. In the first and second one, there weren't quite as many cameos as there ended up being in the rest of the films. And I love this movie. It's just not as fun as some of the other ones later on in the series. And that's kind of plot, silliness, cameos. It's kind of going to come down to that as far as like rewatchability and stuff like that as well. But yeah, Sharknado 2, the second one, comes in at number 5. Okay, coming in at number 4 is going to be the last Sharknado. It's about time. Which actually serves as 2 purposes. It is actually about time. And yes, it's about time. Even though I could have gone for another 20 of these, because I just think they're just so much fun. I think Ian Ziering is great as a leading man. And I think it's a shame that this is the only series he was able to kind of helm. So, yeah, this one is about time jumping. Of course, this is the last one. And they're trying to get to their son. Of course, uh, the main guy in April, played by Tara Reid. And, they're trying to get to their son and they're jumping around in time. And they figure out that they have to kill the very first Sharknado in order to put all this at rest. It is a really fun movie, but I'm not exactly fond of the whole time shift as much. So that's kind of why it ends up at number 4. Okay, coming up at number 3 is Sharknado, The Fourth Awakens. Yeah, this movie is fun. Like I said, some of what separates the lower ones from the higher ones are just maybe more cameos, maybe a little bit more silliness. Maybe I'm more fond of the situation. So, yeah, this takes place in, I think it's DC. No, that's the third one. All right, the fourth one takes place. Actually, I cannot remember where the fourth one takes place, but it awakens. All of these start to run together after a while, but I do love the fourth one. It's a lot of fun. Which brings me to number two. Number two is part 5, which is Sharknado Global Swarming. Now, this almost made my number one. I like the fact that they're hopping places in the world, because that's what this one kind of amounts to. They're also looking for their son in this one. And when they find him, that was the point where it almost took first place. And I'm not going to tell you guys who it is at the very end, but I was like, wow, that's really cool. But they end up going all over the world with the Sharknado, and it's a lot of fun. So, that one almost made number one, and it did make number one for a little while, but then I sat down and I thought about it, and that brings me to my number one, which is Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no. As much as I wanted to put the fifth one in front of it, I couldn't see doing it for the simple fact that this one takes place in DC in the beginning, because it's right after the events of New York, and it goes from DC to Orlando, Florida, because the lead guy and April, their family, is in Orlando. I love amusement parks, so I could have watched this all day long. They go into Universal. There's a lot of fun things to poke fun at. Of course, we have a ton of cameos, including Kim Richards, who actually plays a bigger part than I thought she would have. But of course, the Sharknado moves from DC, where he's protecting the president, who is played by Mark Cuban, but from the Shark Tank, of course, which I thought was really clever. As a matter of fact, in the first 3 or 4, there are members of the Shark Tank in each film, which I thought is kind of, I mean, when you really think about it, it's kind of a necessity, but yeah. So they go down to Orlando, Florida, and the Sharknado kind of starts wrecking the park, and he's trying to protect his family, and it's just a great movie. The surroundings are great, and I love the amusement park setting. So it had to be 3 for me. Like I said, it was almost 5, but 3 is definitely my favorite. And surprise, surprise, it's the highest rated. But let me just say about Sharknado, it is probably one of the most consistent franchises I've ever seen. And everything is done on a budget. What does that say about a lot of the other bigger franchises? So, I don't know. I had a ton of fun with this one. And I don't know. Sharknado was awesome. Sharknado 3 is my number one. What do you guys think? And don't forget to check out Joe's ranking for Sharknado. Remember, guys, physical media matters. And until next time, peace.